Today on Locked On Red Wings, Sebastian Cossa wins his NHL debut, a relief appearance, and they win it in the shootout.
You're Locked On Red Wings, your daily podcast on the Detroit Red Wings. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Welcome back to the Locked On Red Wings podcast. We are your hosts, Brian Fisher and Scotty Bentley. Scotty's the host over at Locked On Tigers, as well as a freelance journalist for the Detroit News, while I am a color commentator for Oakland University, ACHA, D1 men's hockey. Scotty, oh boy, that was a seesaw of a hockey game, but it probably ended in, it did end in the best possible way, with the game on Sebastian Cossa's shoulders in the shootout, and they win 6-5. We were complaining about no offense the last few games. Well, it showed up in this one. Sebastian Cossa getting his first NHL win. So clearly that's going to be the focus of segment one here. Before we get to any of that, we got to talk to you guys, or I got to let you guys know today's episode is brought to you by FanDuel. New customers can place a $5 bet, and you'll get started with $150 in bonus bets if you win your first $5 bet. Visit FanDuel.com today to get started. All right, Scotty. First thought, buddy.
Well, I don't know how it's not a similar feeling of the second that you step off of a roller coaster, you were kind of like scared to go on, right? Like, you know, when you're growing up and you go to an amusement park for the first time and you're like, whoa, like roller coasters look kind of big and scary. And then you get off of one after you ride it for the first time and you're like, whoa, that was, you know, crazy. Like, I was kind of terrified at times and I was kind of miserable there for a few seconds, but like, I'm glad I rode that. It was fun. That's kind of how I felt. And obviously the Cossa conversation is going to be the biggest one, I think, revolving around this game, which I think it deserves to be, and is obviously the biggest storyline out of this game. But you know, even if we look outside of the crease, just an absolutely wild back and forth, up and down, peaks and valleys, hot and cold. I don't know how many analogies I can think of here. Type of game. It was absolutely thrilling, only because they won.
Yeah, and like, this is one of those games where, I mean, this is what kind of game we've been asking for so long. Like, there was so much happening that I highly doubt we're going to be able to get to everything, because so much happened, but we're going to try and hit the important parts. And the important parts were, like, first thought, hell yeah, Sebastian Cossa. Hell yeah, Sebastian Cossa. Also, God bless the Buffalo Sabres. That's my other first thought. I had two.
Nice.
The first one being
thoughts. That makes sense. That's how that works. Yeah.
You know what? Imagine a middle finger on the screen right now. Imagine it. I won't do it. This is a family-friendly program, in theory, at least.
You'll just say it out loud, but you won't do it, right?
Imagine my middle. Well, also, you got to remember, like, some people listen to us only, so if I gave you the middle finger,
you're
people
right,
wouldn't see
right.
it.
This
so I have to tell people.
Effective. Yep, far more effective.
Yeah.
You're right.
But
you're right.
Listen, Sebastian Cossa came in a really tough situation. Ville Husso, and we'll talk about Husso in segment two, he didn't have a great night. He was kind of due for one of those, but I also don't put that all on him either, and we'll talk about that. But Cossa had to come into relief in the second period, and that's a big ask. Your team is down 3-2. They've allowed like 3 goals on 7 shots. Your job in your NHL debut is to come in and settle things down. That is a huge ask. And, I mean, to be honest, that combined with the NHL jitters, he didn't look all that great in his first period of play in his NHL tenure. The same argument is I'm going to make for Cossa that I'm going to make for Husso. I don't think it was all on him. The 2 goals he did allow were massive defensive breakdowns, which was kind of a running theme with the Red Wings tonight on the goals that they allowed. But they weren't great either. Like on the Zucker goal, I thought he didn't track Zucker well. Let Zucker beat him. He gave up a huge rebound on the first one, which I think was the Aube Kubel goal. He gave a huge rebound, which they buried. But again, massive defensive zone breakdowns right in front of him. Hole got beat on the Zucker. That contributed massively to those goals. And it being his first period of his NHL career in a relief performance, so you know those jitters are in there too, I'm easily going to wave those away. But then the way he came back in the third period and settled down, and the Red Wings did a really good job of insulating him too. They did an awesome job. He faced, I think, 2 5-on-5 shots in the third period, and when you combine the 4-on-4, so just even strength in general, he faced 6 in the third period at even strength. And that penalty kill at the end of the game, I thought Sebastian Cossa settled down very nicely and did what was needed of him to win. And then, of course, overtime and the shootout. As the game went on, he got progressively more comfortable. And so while I know the analytics don't say like he had a fantastic game, 8.57 save percentage on against small sample size, 14 shots against, only a minus 0.46 goals saved above expected, which, all things considered, again, with that small sample size, is not bad. Like when you're within -1 to +1 territory, you've basically done enough to help your team. I thought Cossa was very impressive in this game, just given the situation he was given and the fact that he was able to come into this game and help lead the Red Wings to a win. Absolute, I'm so proud and so happy for this kid because that was a tough situation and they were able to get the win, and he was able to help in a massive way in the shootout into getting that win.
Yeah, I'm very happy for him, and I'm happy that this was the start. I am very, very happy that he got punched in the mouth, because that is going to happen to every single player who's ever played in the NHL. At some point, they're going to get hit, especially goalies. You're going to get lit up at some point. And for him to get punched early, almost immediately after entering the game, and then being able to still ride that to a win, I think is great. I mean, I don't think it was like a Herculean effort. I mean, we talked about before, we hit record that he really barely faced any shots in the third period. Like after the high volume of shots slowed down is obviously when the scoring stopped for Buffalo. And I think that's probably the more direct correlation, but that's not really, it doesn't matter. I don't really care. The fact that he was able to come in relief in a situation that, like you said, I mean, the Wings couldn't stop a nosebleed, and it was really, really rough, not only for Husso, who we'll talk about a little bit more in the next segment, but just the defensive breakdowns that they had were brutal, and to throw a guy in his debut out there in that situation and to not get up a goal in overtime, be the goalie in a shootout. That is crazy.
Right.
I think one of the NHL stat accounts, I can figure out which one over the break, said that he's the first goalie ever to come in relief, get a win in a game that went to a shootout. And that's just
Sportsnet.
Say what?
It was Sportsnet, by the way.
Yeah, there you go. So just really, really kind of thrown into the fire, as they say, right away. And for him to come out on the other side with a win, I think is awesome, and hopefully is a great sign of things to come. I'm very, very pleased with how this went from his perspective, for sure.
Yeah, and to correct myself, he actually only faced 3 shots at even strength in the third period. When I said 8 earlier, or 6, I think it was earlier, I was actually looking at Fenwick. So the Red Wings did a really nice job of insulating him in the third period as they really pushed in the latter half of the third, and we'll talk about that. But his adjustment between the second and the third period, he really looked a lot more comfortable in the crease. And then, there was the penalty kill with the 2 minutes left that he played well on, and then in the overtime and in the shootout. So, yes, those 2 goals he allowed, again, a huge. I'm not worried about it. My worry level on that is just 0. I thought he acclimated himself well, and if you're looking at how to review this game from Sebastian Cossa, it's how he got more comfortable as the game went on in the crease. It was always going to be a little shaky when he first came out there, but he settled down and he did what needed to be done for the team to get the win, and they bounced back. And honestly, I felt too, Scotty, and I don't know if you thought this too, but the moment Cossa took the crease, I felt like a visible bump in energy levels from the Detroit Red Wings. They scored that game-tying goal to go to 3-3, immediately into the second period after he took the net. This team, I don't know if it was because of Cossa or just desperation, and they didn't want to lose their 6th straight, especially against a team that's lost 6 straight. But it felt like coming into period 2, they were playing a lot harder, especially in period 3. So I don't know. Overall, that was a long first thought. We didn't even technically get to our difference makers. Had my mic turned sideways. I'm just really proud of Sebastian Cossa. I'm really proud of him and happy for him because that was a tough situation, and he was able to come in and get a win. That was incredible.
Yeah, agreed.
We're going to go to our first break. When we come back, we'll talk about difference makers. So stay tuned to segment 2 of Lockdown Red Wings coming up. Today's episode is sponsored by Prize Picks. If you love sports, you're going to love Prize Picks, the best place to turn your sports knowledge into real money. Whether it's hockey, football, or any of your favorite sports, Prize Picks makes it easy to get in on the action. Here's why you need to get started today. You can win up to 200 times your money on Prize Picks and get $50 instantly when you play your first $5 lineup. No need to win. The $50 is guaranteed. Prize Picks also offers weekly promotions like Taco Tuesday, where select player projections are discounted up to 25%. This week on Prize Picks, I'm eyeing the hockey board, looking at Jack Hughes for more than 4 shots on goal and Artemi Panarin for more than 1 assist. It's so simple to make picks and have fun with friends while potentially cashing out fast. Download the app today and use code LOCKEDONNHL to get $50 instantly after you play your first $5 lineup. That's right, $50 instantly. Prize Picks. Run your game. Segment 2, Locked On Red Wings podcast. Scotty, as far as difference makers go, who do you have in, or what do you have in this game?
Wow, that was good. That wasn't foreshadowing at all. Yeah, no, I honestly, I think the reason why the Wings were able to get this win, and in a game in which 11 goals were scored, obviously there's going to be a lot of smaller reasons that add up. But the biggest thing for me was they killed a penalty to end regulation, and like that was a Christmas miracle a few weeks early, man. Like that was absolutely massive. It not only guaranteed them a point, but inevitably then also got them. Helped get them the second point. In that moment, there was almost exactly 2 minutes left in regulation in a tie game, and they go on the kill, and I was like, this is over. Like they're gonna obviously, right? They're very obviously gonna blow this. It's the worst penalty kill I've maybe ever seen. They're very obviously gonna allow a goal here, and we're gonna walk out of here not only with not 2 points, we're not going to even get to overtime, and we're going to walk out of here with our 6th straight loss and going to get 0 points out of this. And to the penalty kills credit, I thought they were fantastic. I mean, as you mentioned, the Sabres barely got any shot attempts off in the third period at all in this game, and to end the game, they really didn't threaten. They had one really good opportunity, I remember, during that kill. Besides that, they didn't really have any super high danger threats to end the game there. And that is, I can't even believe I'm saying the words, but that is due to a very solid penalty kill in this hockey game.
You're right. I mean, they went 2 for 2 in this game, and that penalty kill it wasn't even just like the Buffalo Sabres couldn't get the zone. Really, on that second penalty kill, the one at the end of the game. Like, they were doing a great job as soon as they would cross the line, stopping it right there. If even stopping it in the neutral zone, which when this penalty kill has success, that's how they do it. Now, the Buffalo Sabres, I think late in that penalty kill, they did take the zone, and they had lots of shot attempts. Sebastian Cossa made some key saves. Red Wings made some key blocks. They kept the pucks along the half walls, didn't give them the middle of the ice super easy. Giving them the middle of the ice super easy is kind of what's been screwing the penalty kill. So, like, that was a really great and reassuring sign to see from the Red Wings for their biggest struggle. I think I said it the other day, like, if the Red Wings had a league average penalty kill, they'd be in a playoff position. Yeah, so, like, which is clearly, it's still insane to say, like, this team's 2 games under 500, and they're still only a couple points back of a playoff spot, but I think that just goes to show how weak the bottom half of the East is this year.
Brian? Do you believe? Don't answer that. Let's keep talking about this game.
All right. Sounds good. Just God bless the Buffalo Sabres. Thank you, Buffalo.
For real, man.
Thank you. I can't believe, Scotty. Can you?
You can believe. You can believe.
It's just crazy to think that if Buffalo had just had a couple palm trees, that they would have won that hockey game.
Yep.
I just can't. That's crazy. It's crazy to hear. No. Huh? Or maybe if their taxes weren't as bad. I don't know. It's weird. For those of you who don't know, I'm referencing General Manager Kevin Adams' comments the other day, where he blamed not having palm trees and state taxes for the reason why their team has missed the playoffs for going on 14 straight seasons. So
that's the longest drought in pro sports right now, yeah?
No, it's second only to the New York Jets.
The Jets. Yeah. Because it was the Mariners forever, and I just knew it as the Mariners, and then they broke that a few years back. So yeah, Jets and Sabres.
It is the longest in NHL currently.
Right.
It's just ironic that two New York teams have the longest. But anyways, I digress. Penalty kill was massive. My difference maker, Moritz Seider. Moritz Seider he had an assist, and that goal. Oh, man. Very reminiscent of his OT winner for his first career goal against Buffalo just a few years ago. But speaking of his rookie season, this was a rookie season Moritz Seider hockey game. And I mean that because, and I don't know if it was just frustration showing through over the losing streak, he absolutely leveled two Buffalo Sabres players in this hockey game. And I think the second one he got away with one a little bit because I thought it was a little high on the head contact, but we take it. He just absolutely leveled two guys. And that's not even going to say about like how dominant he was in just his normal everyday, he played 27 minutes in this hockey game, Scotty. He had 3 hits. He had 3 shots rather, and he had a goal and an assist, as I said. Now that goal, I think that also brings us to a wider conversation about James Reimer. He ain't it. We knew he wasn't it last year with the Detroit Red Wings. But
I was going to say, I think if any fan base is aware of that, I think it's probably ours. Yeah. I don't want to call
for a player to. It might be time to hang it up because that goal, that Seider snipe bar down was beautiful, but why was there that much space short side? Yeah. And there were a couple goals like that. He did make a beautiful paddle save. Was it on Raymond or DeBrincat earlier in the game? But outside of that, he looked at the same scrambly Reimer that we had last year. So, great goal by Seider. I don't want to take anything away, but I'm just like baffled there was that much space short side, especially below the dot on the circle where Seider was shooting. That was crazy. Yeah. But a beautiful shot nonetheless. And between the hits, playing 27 minutes, being one of the top performers in expected goals for percentage, the point production, he was a very visible difference maker on the ice for the Detroit Red Wings.
Absolutely. I would like to, we might be too late into the year now, but I would really like to, going into next season, keep tabs on like who we talk about for our difference makers, so that, because like I'd be interested in how many Seider is going to have throughout the course of the year. You know what I mean? Especially compared to everybody else. I'd imagine him, Larkin, and Raymond are probably just going to be on another planet in comparison to everybody else. And that's why they get paid the most. And that is, it's a good return on investment so far, needless to say.
Well, like speaking about players who get paid the most, I mean, you already mentioned Raymond there, but Raymond obviously had another goal in this game. Yeah. Crazy good shot. Just that snapshot. Again, he has rediscovered his shot like he did last year when he started to heat up. And he's like, oh, yeah, I have an incredible snapshot. Let me shoot the puck more. And it's going in like every single time he shoots it. It was a beautiful feed from Dylan Larkin, who had 2 assists in this hockey game. Another one of your highest paid players, actually the highest paid player on your hockey team. You know, those 3 guys show up in every single game and produce in some facet or the other. Maybe not in the point streak, but in the difficulty of the minutes that they take on. Like, they're very clearly the core of this hockey team. And Simon Edvinsson is quickly, putting himself in that conversation as well. But, I mean, the top line, the top pair were both phenomenal in this game. You saw a line shakeup, too, which was important to mention, where it was DeBrincat back on the top line with Larkin and Raymond. That second line, though, Scotty. Ooh, buddy. COPP, Comfort, and Tarasenko. And I was like, oh, no. Oh, no. Please, no. Please, no. Guess what line was the best line analytically in this hockey game?
Yeah. Well, and yeah, man. And like, a little bit of production, too. Yeah. Nothing wrong with it.
Andrew COPP gets not just his first, but second goal in 16 games in this one. One was a beautiful setup where he just literally had to keep his stick on the ice. Another easy goal for Andrew COPP. A beautiful setup by JT Compher and Moritz Seider on a tic-tac-toe. But the other one, it was a dirty goal. He went to the net and he buried a rebound. Oh, by the way, fun fact, there's so much to cover in this hockey game. Fun fact, that was just the second rebound goal the Red Wings have scored all season. At 5-on-5.
Which is a wild stat.
They were dead last in 5-on-5 rebound goals all season. It might even be just period. It might not even be 5-on-5. I'd have to double check. But they were dead last in rebound goals. So Andrew COPP getting that rebound goal on a Jeff Petrie, Ben Sherratt, JT Compher combo goal. Like, dude, but the Sabres just have to fold. Like, you let Ben Sherratt, Jeff Petrie, Andrew COPP, and JT Compher combine for a goal against you, you got to relocate.
Yeah, it's tough. That's real tough.
But like, okay, but like the manic spazziness aside, that is the kind of depth scoring that the Red Wings desperately need if they're going to win hockey games. Like I just mentioned, Raymond, Larkin, and Seider show up every single game, but they can't be the only ones who show up every single game. Like the importance it is to getting guys like Andrew COPP, JT Compher, Patrick Kane going is massive to this team. And so JT Compher having 2 assists in this game and Andrew COPP having 2 goals is win a huge way. Like I almost had Andrew COPP as my difference maker, or I should say the second line as my difference maker, just because they were so substantial to this game. And it's not just the goals. Like it's not just the production. Vladimir Tarasenko, Andrew COPP led the team in expected goals for percentage at 82% and 74%. JT Compher was behind Larkin and DeBrincat on that list with 67%. So the top line and the second line played really well in this hockey game. Like, it's not just with the production. It was actually on the ice how they played, too. They played well. So that was really a great sign. Can they do it in more than just one game?
Right.
Hopefully.
It's about time. I'm hoping that they can maybe string that together.
Yeah, absolutely. Anyways, time to go to another quick break. So we'll return in segment 3 with, we got so many more notable performers we could probably bring up. So stay tuned to segment 3 of Locked On Red Wings. Get ready to tackle the NFL action with FanDuel, America's #1 sportsbook. Because right now, new customers can bet $5 and get $150 in bonus bets if you win. The FanDuel Sportsbook app gives you everything you need to place live bets on the NFL all in one place. So when you get a hunch in the middle of the game, you can check out the latest stats, view live play-by-play, and so much more on the same place where you place your bets. Just visit FanDuel.com to join today, and you'll get started with $150 in bonus bets if you win your first $5 bet. That's FanDuel.com. Never waste a hunch and make every moment more with FanDuel, an official sportsbook partner of the NFL.
The NFL.
Is that going to be your new thing? I thought you were going to say it. Segment 3, Locked On Red Wings podcast. Scotty, I'll let you take your sip. No, swallow.
Thanks, dude. Yeah, I know how to drink water.
You're welcome. I didn't want to catch you off guard. I didn't want to ask you a question when you're in mid-sip. Other notable performers in this hockey game, who else you got?
Yeah, I'm going to ask you a question mid-sip now. I think it's worth bringing up Husso. Obviously, we talked about Cossa, and we talked obviously a little bit about Husso because of that, but who do we think gets the net next game? We have a preview obviously on Wednesday, but I don't know. I think they're just going to go back to Husso, to be honest, unless something on the injury front changes with Talbot or Lyon. I think they're going to go right back to Husso. Obviously, not a very good performance, only lasted a period, but I think that they are probably, going to go back to him, which I'm not exactly thrilled about. And I think that we kind of just know what Ville Husso is at this point, but that's kind of where I sit.
Yeah.
We can focus more on the game itself. And we have 2 off days to talk about it, but interesting conversation to say the least.
Derek Lalonde is very much a goaltender. He was a goaltender, actually. He's very much a coach who always rides the hot hand in net. Husso had a rough game in this one. So I don't see why, in normal circumstances, he would not go back to Husso. But these aren't normal circumstances. But Cossa did come in. The team did rally with him in net. How much was that because they had a rookie goaltender in net? They wanted to give him a win? I don't know. But they did rally with Cossa in net. So, do you go back to the goaltender that got the win? Probably. But the wrench in that is obviously, what's the Lyon and Talbot situation, as you put it? It's 2 days rest. So maybe Husso's good to go again. I personally would go back to Cossa. I wanted Cossa in this game. I understood the logic. Your logic ended up winning out going into this hockey game. that, he had a day off. So, and he's been good in the last 3. So why would they not go back to Husso, especially with 2 off days after that? He could get his rest. And that's the logic that ultimately won out. And that's why Husso got the start. But I wanted Cossa to begin with because, again, my argument was Husso had played 3 straight games. I thought maybe he was due for that break. And it looked like he needed it in this hockey game. Like, this was a rough game by him. And it's the same conversation we just had about Cossa in segment 1 that I'm going to have about Husso in segment 3 here. Those goals he let in, I was not a fan of. But were those goals 100% his fault? No. The first goal against, the Zach Benson goal that he scored short side, went off of Ben Sherratt's stick, was redirected higher above Husso's shoulder than he was expecting. Why I don't love that goal? Well, that puck was still short side, and you left too much space open, similar to Reimer on the game-tying goal by Moritz Seider. So I don't think even with that deflection, it should have been a goal, but it was redirected. The second goal, massive defensive breakdown happened, and they score. Jeff Petrie gets burned on the outside. Tyler Mott can't win the one-on-one battle, and Tage Thompson just buries it. That's not on Husso whatsoever. The third goal, I think that puck got redirected off of Justin Hull's stick. And even if it hadn't, Husso was completely screened. I don't love it because it went 5-hole, and you have to always cover your 5-hole, and that's why I don't love that goal. But I didn't love any of them, but I can't put any of them on completely on Ville Husso either. So they just screamed more defensive breakdowns than anything to me in that first period. But Derek Lalonde clearly saw that Ville Husso was not on his game, or he was rattled, or he just wanted to give this team a spark to say, come on, guys, you're letting your goaltender get down. Because sometimes they pull their goalie just to throw the goalie a life preserver more than anything. Yeah. So while Ville Husso didn't have his best game, this I don't really think was 100% his fault. It's the same exact conversation we just had with Cossa. Like, Cossa in his first period with the Red Wings didn't have like a Vezina caliber period like everyone was expecting or was hoping out of a 15th overall pick. You know what he looked like? Looked like a kid playing his first NHL game in a relief appearance where his team was down. So, like, I'm not too worried about it. So, to answer your question you led off with, I don't really know. I, as a fan, want Cossa. I'm leaning Cossa, but if he went back to Husso, I'd be like, yeah, I kind of get it. I want Cossa.
Honestly, I think a lot of that weighs on the health of the other two. But like I said, we have 2 off days to kind of go a little bit more in depth on that.
Absolutely.
We talked about Copper already a little bit. Yeah. When we talked about the lines, obviously solid performance by him. We talked about before we hit record, we were just kind of, riffing about the game and doing show prep and stuff. Like the Wings actually suppressed shots pretty well, especially after the first period, as we talked about. But the defensive breakdowns they did have were really bad. And it was just kind of, again, it really was fitting for this game. Like, it was a roller coaster. You actually have good defense that you can take away from this game. And yet you also have defense that was so bad that it knocked your goalie out and you gave up 5. Like, it's this team is so ridiculous. Like, that's really my biggest takeaway is this hockey team is just so stupid.
You literally never know which Detroit Red Wings team you're going to get on any given night.
Right.
You'll get 2-1 loss to the Colorado Avalanche where you carry the play but can't score but play well defensively, or you'll get absolute shootout barn burner Detroit Red Wings that score a bunch but give up a ton as well. Like, from game to game, it's just completely different. I mean, they dominated this game at 5-on-5 analytically. Like, in all 3 periods, I think that the second period, the Sabres had the edge in, but they had a 71% of the expected goal share in the first and 82% in the third. The third period, they pushed hard.
Without a doubt, yeah.
Oh, without a doubt. But, like, in the third period, like I said, they only allowed 3 shots. Like, they overall do a really nice job on a night in and night out basis of suppressing high danger attempts. That's something we've said all season long. But they just, it's the volume that eventually gets to them. Because they suppress those high danger attempts, but because they're all in the middle, they don't win the race to the corners, so they don't get the puck and get it down the ice. So in this game, they were doing a good job of suppressing it, but in addition to that, they're giving up a couple of very high danger opportunities where your defenseman either deflected it or got absolutely burned on the outside. And that's what happened to Hull and Sherratt and Petrie, and that's how those goals happened. So, I don't know. It was a weird game. I wouldn't take too much away from it in like that regard, because this game just became like a weird, like just barn burner game where everything was going in the net. It's hard to really evaluate anything defensively in this game. Outside of that, DeBrincat scored 2. That was one of Larkin's assists. The top line reunited, and it feels so good. Raymond and DeBrincat scored, and Larkin got 2 assists. So the top line looked really good in addition to the second line, because I mentioned Larkin and Raymond's points earlier, but didn't mention DeBrincat had scored 2, and it was a really nice goal. He came right out front and backhander, and that was the game tying goal at the first period, 1-1. So
yes, if that was a question, yes.
it was more. I was asking for confirmation. I was remembering correctly.
It was.
But I mean,
it's funny. I'm not kidding. I had not turned the game on yet when we were down 1-0.
Oh yeah, I remember seeing you tweet that, and then you're like literally 2-0 since I've sat down, and then it was quickly 2-1, and then 2-2.
Yeah, it was a roller coaster.
Yeah, you got a little cock. You started to believe that you were the reason.
I was feeling good, and that didn't last very long.
When the Red Wings scored that goal to go make it 5-4, the second Andrew COPP goal, I legitimately had the thought, oh boy, now we're going to lose our 6th straight 1-goal game.
Yeah, I don't blame you.
And then they forced overtime, and somebody's like, well, this aged poorly. I'm like, well, if they lose in overtime, it's still a 1-goal loss.
They've still been doing that a lot too. Yeah,
I like to believe I reverse jinxed it.
Whatever helps you sleep at night.
Melatonin.
Really?
No, actually, I sleep like a rock. I don't need melatonin.
Okay.
I just thought it sounded clever. It was a witty, quick comeback.
We ball.
Same time, same place. It's your team every day.
Every day.